Define Beatlemania.
I couldn't define it. You know, a lot of people have tried. I'm not going to try. Leave it to the psychologists and let them get it wrong.
The question here.
You so worried I can't cut that crap out.
Cut that crap out! Hey, Murray!
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Dan Davis says you guys are nothing but a bunch of British Elvis Presleys.
He must be blind. It's not true. It's not true.
We came here at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 to see them, and all they do is push you farther and farther away, and then they don't even let you see them.
Have you ever been in physical danger from your fans?
Well, occasionally, yes. Only when there's been a big mob, you know, a really big one.
I got every Beatle record at home. Every Beatle record. We didn't get to see it. What kind of police protection here?
Well, what do you think made the difference that suddenly pushed you up above the other group?
Well, we got the record contract.
We're going to Europe
Next week?
next week,
Sunday, actually.
and then we come back and we go off to America. And we do a telly.
we do the Ed Sullivan. Good old Ed.
Ed Sullivan. Hi, Ed.
Is he
Hope
on
he's
yours?
watching. He's watching in this one. Look. There he is. All right, Ed. It's Mrs. Ed.
I'm Mr. Ed.
Well, one of your big attractions is your haircut and your manner of dress. What prompted that? The haircuts, for instance.
It just happened, you know. You just wake up one day and there you are.
The Beatles. The Beatles? No, I couldn't catch on. Here, Byrne, is the tea ready yet?
When it started with me, George, Paul and Ringo, and we said, listen, man, you know, here's another field of professionalism that doesn't need any qualifications except for you've got to get down to it without that pressure of the 11 plus, etc., and GC and all that. And we all discovered that the values didn't mean a thing, you know, and you could make it without college and education and all those things, you know. It's nice to be able to read and write, but apart from that, I never learned anything worth a damn.
First of all, we have to start with this. Apparently, the fellas have a lot on the ball. They have a magnetism. So you take their talent, and they write their own music, by the way. Nearly every song they've recorded is a song that they wrote themselves. Then they have an unusual appearance, and you got a lot of it's the haircut. It's done a lot for them. And the tremendous amount of promotion that they've had. Well, of course, now everybody's on the Beatle bandwagon, so it's mushroom.
Actually, I understand that the British word for beatnik is beetle. Instead of calling a beatnik, as we do over here, a beatnik, they call beatniks Beatles.
Or Beatles.
The very word beat has to do with the name of their group.
John thought of the name Beatles, and he'll tell you about it now.
It means Beatles, doesn't it? You know, that's just a name, you know, like shoe. It means shoe.
The shoes. You see, we could have been called the shoes for all you know.
The Beatles. In one meteoric year, they've led the way from the cellars of Liverpool to the national limelight. George Harrison, lead guitar. John Lennon, rhythm guitar. Paul McCartney, bass guitar. Ringo Starr,
Being a Rolling Stone, funnily enough, for me, was when girls used to scream at you. Because they used to embarrass me like man. I could never, ever see what they were screaming at. I've never really been that great a teenager, young man sort of thing, I don't think. And I quite like being like this, really. But I don't know if I'll be doing it on this level when I'm 70. I don't think so. I think there is a time where we're going to look a bit silly doing it.
Actually, they thought that time would come by age 30, and none of them expected rock and roll would ever be a career. Yet through 4 decades, the Rolling Stones have managed to stay on the cutting edge of popular music. But it hasn't been easy. There are fundamental differences between the group's 2 creative forces and songwriters. Jagger, the jet-setting man of self-described wealth and taste, and Richards, the quintessential rock and roll outlaw. By the 1980s, they were so sick of each other it looked like the Rolling Stones were history. They didn't perform in concert together for 7 years. Although friends since childhood, the Jagger-Richards partnership was on the rocks.
How are you different?
Mick likes to protect himself a lot from everything. He's always looking for an angle on people, but I can't live like that. You know, I'd rather take somebody on face value until they screw up, and it makes it difficult for me sometimes to get through to Mick because I know that he's wondering what my angle is. And that was where we hit the crunch, but at the same time we've grown up with each other. I mean, I met him in a sand pit, 4 years old. You know? I can't divorce him, he can't divorce me. You know?
But you both have tried.
Well, he tried.
I think everyone was very aggravated, and I think everyone was a bit bored with it, to be honest. But I don't think anyone wants to really admit that. And they sort of took it out on each other, said, we have to do this, and we're fed up with it, and whatever. And I think, in the end, that it was a good thing to take a break from it, because we came back, I think, better than before.
And bigger.
And we're going to go to places where we've never been. We're going to go to Mexico, then we're going to Asia, we're going to Chile, I think, Brazil.
On this world tour, only their second since 1982, the Rolling Stones are a state-of-the-art mobile corporation moving from city to city and country to country with almost 300 employees. It's only rock and roll, but it's big business. So big it sometimes surprises guitarist Ron Wood.
This is a musical association, the band playing together. But it's also a business association.
It is. And we're all very surprised when we have business meetings. We all kind of look at each other like, wow, you mean there's money too? Loads of money?
How much money? Promoter Michael Cole guaranteed the Stones a profit of $100 million to do the tour, and they expect to make much more, even though it takes $1 million a week to keep the show on the road. He says Jagger, who's spent his college days at the London School of Economics, makes his investment a safe bet.
I tended to have relationships with artists that talked about the shows, and the business was left to be dealt with the manager, and we almost never got an artist who would actually sit down and talk to you about the business aspects, whereas Mick is very involved in those details.
Hey, nice to meet you. Hope you get my name.
Jagger is so involved in the details, Business Week magazine labeled him the chief executive officer of the Rolling Stones, a rock and roll corporation.
It's what they call in business a virtual corporation.
A virtual corporation?
It's a kind of new thing which lasts for a year, makes a huge gross, makes hopefully a good profit. But then you just fold it all up and the organization disappears.
Yeah, it's on a really huge scale. We're still sort of 4 white blokes from England playing American music, I think.
In fact, American blues and jazz were the genesis of the Rolling Stones sound. when their tour reached New Orleans, the birthplace of jazz, it was a chance for the Stones to sample the local product almost every night. Keith Richards and Charlie Watts went to see a local blues band at a small neighborhood bar. Mick Jagger and Watts joined a traditional New Orleans jazz parade. And Jagger was right at home in the second line. Despite the due given jazz and blues by the Rolling Stones, it's the spectacle of Mick Jagger's superstar persona that gets the most attention.
I've been holding on so long, I've been sleeping all alone, and I miss you.
It's an image that's outrageous, controversial, and carefully crafted.
Doing outfits and makeup and all that, it helps you get into the personality that you're going to be, that, you know, you're going to project on the stage.
And the dominant trait of Jagger's stage personality is unabashed sexuality.
I pushed the sexuality thing quite a long way in this. I spread it in as many different